Okay. Hello, how is everyone doing today? Okay, I hope everyone's having a great weekend. I hope everyone had great holidays. Okay. And let me actually, oh, I gotta change the thumbnail. The thumbnail didn't change still. Hold on a second. Let me change that too.
That's right, baby girl. I'm trapped inside the white lines and I feel so fine.
Let me fix the thumbnail right now. I just didn't realize
It
that it
better
hadn't
pass.
changed.
Everyone's down with the Prop 208 right now, except the haters. You ready to game tomorrow?
Okay. Okay, here we go. Fix the thumbnail now. Sorry about that, everyone. Okay, there we go, fixed. Okay. Thumbnail was an error with the thumbnail. There was the thumbnail from the last stream. Sorry about that. Um, yeah, it was an accident there. Hey, everyone. Yeah, so last time we did the pizza stream, it was September when it was double money, and we hit it within 3 hours, so I'm gonna try to hit it even quicker this time, too. No, it's actually, this is actually surprisingly gonna be easier than Taxi. We both are right next to each other here. Yeah, I heard about that. Jimmy Carter passed away. Thank you, Agent Reaper. Thank you for the super chat. Hello, Morgan. How are you, dude? Okay, already at $4,000 here. Who was Jimmy Carter? He was an American president. Yes, I heard about that plane crash in South Korea. It was horrible. What happened? And the thing is, though, is I was watching this expert talking about it earlier today, and he said if there was no wall at the end of the runway, that most of the people could have survived in the plane. I don't know why they have a wall at the end of the runway. That's a really terrible idea.
It's total crunch time right now. We got 3 sites going up at work, and I'm booked for communions every weekend this month.
My favorite GTA game, GTA 4. You're making good progress already, 1% of the way there. Hey there, Mario. My favorite mission in San Andreas, end of the line, the final one. Any more story videos anytime soon? I'm gonna make another. When I make those channel update videos, I kind of make them like real life advice videos. I'm gonna think of something to do for the next one.
Oh, my bad. Oh, dang, my bad. Thanks for that, asshole.
Okay, 18,000 already there. When are you getting to Mafia 3? I'm gonna do Mafia 3, next year sometime. I'm gonna do Mafia 1. I'll probably play the original Mafia, then the Definitive Edition, and then Mafia 2, Mafia 3. I want to remind you about Max Payne playthrough. I haven't forgotten FTB. I will, Max Payne 3 will be in January, but it's gonna be at the end of January. But it will be in January, I promise. Thank you for, being a member of my channel for 4 months. Thank you, dude.
Hey there. Can't wait to meet up later.
There we go. First batch of pizzas delivered. We are at $43,000 already. Okay. Oh, come on, no. I don't know yet, Max. I don't want to give a release date specifically on that project, but my next project, it's going to be coming out next weekend. So I have a lore video coming out next Saturday, and it's going to be the Russian Mafia lore video in GTA San Andreas. You know, explaining their backstory and what they're doing in Big Smoke's crack operation. Love the outfit. Best cosplay yet. Thank you, No Boogie. Thank you, man, for the super chat. Thank you, dude. Yes, pizza is double money right now. Yes, it is. Yeah, Mr. Hopkins, I'm gonna play Condemned Criminal Origins. I just don't know when, but I will play it, yes. Yes, I heard about the South Korean plane crash. It's horrible what happened. No, it's actually, honestly speaking, I actually prefer doing this over Taxi. I do. I will actually be playing Mercenaries 1, early in January for the 20th anniversary. Hey everyone in Pro, you were right, you knew Nishiki was going to betray Kiryu. That scene is one of my favorite cutscenes in Yakuza 0. Thank you, George. Thank you for the super chat. I'm more interested in Majima's story right now. I like Kiryu's storyline, but I'm more interested in Majima's storyline and what's gonna happen next. But I was also practicing. I did the cabaret club off recording, so I was practicing with it, and I got a lot better with it. So I can do a lot better on my next recording with the clubs. It's like learning the businesses. Like the businesses in Yakuza, like the club itself, is just so much better than like any GTA Online business. It's actually complicated, and like you have to learn everything in there, how to run it. Oh, look at that one pizza. That one pizza's far. Okay, we'll get it. I wish there was more Sleeping Dogs games, yes. But if they made another Sleeping Dogs game, I wanted it where you play as a triad, not an undercover cop in the next one. My favorite pizza? Probably pepperoni. The one thing I was having trouble with in the cabaret clubs is, when the girls call you over and you get that little trouble icon, what are you supposed to hit when you have the trouble icon pop up? Like, I was hitting gift give, um, uh, gift give, and when I do that, it's like they walk away. So when I give the gift, they walk away, but sometimes they get pissed off at that, so I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Pizza Hut or Domino's? I've always liked Domino's better, and Domino's, their reward system is better. It's almost like defending girls is usually the best to refresh their HP. Okay. And my club is still at F, Chaz. Is that normal? Is it supposed to be at F for some time? I've gotten a lot more guests, but I'm still at F. Italian reporter that was arrested in Iran. No, I did not hear about that. What happened? I need to hit the pavement and invest in businesses. How do I invest in businesses around the area? Do I go into like the different stores and stuff like that? Like, what shops am I supposed to partner with specifically? That's what I'm a little confused on. Are you going to compare the Russian Mafia in San Andreas to the Russian Mafia in GTA 4? A little bit, but mostly focusing on their role in San Andreas, and mostly going to be talking about the collapse of the Soviet Union and how that affects the Russian Mafia. Sure, Chaz. Love the cosplay, bro. Thank you. And that's right next to the next pizza place is gonna be there too. Oh, okay. Thank you, Chaz. I love your content and videos. Thank you, Tyler. What are your thoughts on Kuze? I think he's a scumbag. I'm actually going to mention Bulgar in a little bit. It works like Kirio's business, where you can buy properties, but instead you're buying fans, huh? Okay, here we go. I'm gonna... 87,000, nice. Yeah, the inflation in Los Angeles has gotten out of control. Yeah, there's a lot of video games that take place before, World War II. Yeah, I know, JD. Chaz actually just sent me the list, but thank you. You're late, I'm not paying for those. That's from Spider-Man. Yeah, I do remember that. Have you played Lost Judgment? No, but Judgment takes place in the same universe as Yakuza, right? It is? Well, it was Nico was more just didn't want to take Vlad's crap anymore. He wanted Roman to stand up for himself.
I love your car.
Is the snow slippery? A little bit, but it's not affecting that much. Next one, here we go. Well, roughing Vlad up, you would be a dead man. So it's like Nico getting rid of him. It was more they don't find out, about his connection to Vlad. Thank you, Mario, for the super chat. What is your opinion on the meme compilations of you? Which ones? Are you talking about the one with the... There's a GTA mission over there? Is that the one you're talking about, that meme? It's free country, not rent-free country. No, I haven't really watched the Transformer movies. I watched, like, the ones... One of them was Shia LaBeouf when I was a kid, but I don't remember which one it even was. Do you think cartels are the most powerful gangs to ever exist? I don't know about ever to exist, but right now, the Mexican cartel right now is the strongest criminal organization in the world. It's not the Italians anymore, it's the Mexican cartel now. The cosplay is awesome, thank you. Well, the Albanian Mafia makes an appearance in SOCOM 2, and in GTA 4 a little bit, but they're mostly their appearances in SOCOM 2.
Hey, let's meet up next week.
Any ideas on how to destroy the cartels? Get rid of corruption. Best strategy. There's a lot of corruption in the Mexican government, and that is the primary reason why they can't get rid of them.
What's going on, my dude?
Yes, I'll play Spec Ops: The Line. Pro, make sure you pay close attention to the cutscenes and lines, because there's a lot of foreshadowing. Also, my thoughts on Kuze, I think that he's a scumbag, George, but I don't know how he's gonna react the next time Kiryu sees him, because he saved, he spared his life. Or curb the demand of drugs? Well, you can get people to, here's the thing about this is the people that use drugs use a lot of drugs, and so even if you get even if all of the drug addicts right now, right? If you get all 50% of the drug addicts into rehab, that's still plenty of money that the cartels are still going to be making. So getting people cleaned up and not addicted to drugs anymore would definitely hurt them, but they're still going to exist as an organization. They're not going to go away. And even if drugs don't work out for them, they're going to go into something else. So it's not like the organization is just going to completely disappear because there's no demand for drugs. I do appreciate the super chat, General's Alert, but I think the organizations, the cartels themselves need to just be destroyed. And the best way to do that is to get rid of corruption, because there's a lot of corruption in Mexico, and that's why Mexico is having such a hard time getting rid of them. If you look at the Italian mafia, for example, they got rich through prohibition, through alcohol being illegal. But when alcohol was made legal again, they didn't disappear. So when there was they were still very much a threat.
Hey, what's going on, brother?
Okay, we're doing pretty good. We're already 13% of the way there. Well, gangs, a lot of gangs out there, the thing is, the similarities between, if you look at the triads, for example, the triads, the Yakuza, the Cosa Nostra Italian mafia, the Bratfia, which is the Russian mafia. If you look at all of them have one major thing in common, is that they literally all act like they're one family. They're like, oh, we're all family, we're all brothers, we all look out for each other, that sort of crap. But that's all nonsense. They're just looking to get ahead of each other. They're looking to screw each other over too. It's nonsense. It's just that whole family thing. It's just all BS. Bikers are the exception. That's what I would say about that, because the thing about this is that what's kind of really strange about a lot of gangs, what's really strange about them, is that a lot of gangs, all these mafias, like Russian mafia, Italian mafia, triads, Yakuza, they all act like they're some kind of brotherhood, like they're a big family, but they don't care about each other, and they just associate with each other for money, and they'll turn on each other the second they get the chance. But bikers are a bit different. Like, a lot of outlaw bikers are actually, like, I would actually say, like, true friends. I'm not defending them, but I would say, like, they will actually look out for each other a lot more, and they won't stab each other in the back. And, and I think the reason for that, I think the reason that, like, outlaw bikers are more loyal to each other versus, like, a lot of organized crime, I think it's because they spend more time with each other, they drive around, they hang out at bars. I think that's probably the reason they're more loyal to each other. Like, they won't screw each other over as easy, because there's a closer connection between each other. That's what I think is. I saw the original RoboCop. I don't think I've seen the second one. Do you watch anime? Some. Can discussing gangs be your next channel update? I'm not a total expert, so I don't think I, would make a video necessarily on that. Thank you, Ephelist. I reserve that more for, like, lore videos. Like, when I'm talking with the gangs in the GTA games, I reserve that more for that.
Let's go on the water tomorrow. Right. Yo, you tripping, yo? Damn, that's wild, bro.
Okay, we're doing pretty good on these pizzas already. I hate GTA 6 videos that spread lies. Well, yeah, thank you, James, for the super chat, but, I don't understand why a lot of YouTubers are just constantly uploading, like, GTA 6 content. There's very little information about the game besides the trailer. So that's what I'll say about that. Is I'm just, I don't really do that stuff. I don't really do the speculation. I don't, make videos on that. And even if it means I make less money, then so be it. If I make less money, not doing GTA 6 videos, so be it. At least I keep my honesty and my integrity intact on my channel. I want people to click on my channel and know me for my honesty and straightforwardness. I don't want people to click on my channel and thinking, oh, this guy's gonna stretch out the video to 8 minutes and talk nonsense for more ads. I don't want people thinking that. Any thoughts on the Korean plane crash? I saw an expert talking about it earlier, and he said if there was not a wall at the end of the runway, most people could have survived, which I don't know why they would have a wall at the end of the runway. Seems like a very bad idea. That's what I like about you. You're a professional part of the pun. Well, thank you, James. Thank you for the super chat. Ever do a Resident Evil series? Maybe. I don't know. I've never been that much into the Resident Evil games. I've been much more into the Dead Rising games. The Capcom's other zombie game, the Dead Rising, those games I'm really into. And so I could play the other Dead Rising games, but I don't know about Resident Evil. I've never really been much into those. Thank you, Candy, for that super chat. How old are you? I'm 30 years old.
Stop by the hotel later.
Is there a Korean mafia? Of course. Do you know what the most powerful mafia is? The most powerful Korean mafia is the North Korean mafia. That's the one. Not the South Koreans. The North Koreans are actually the strongest mafia. You look 20. Well, I guess that's a good thing. Left 4 Dead? Oh, I'll definitely do a playthrough of that one.
Hey there. Can't wait to meet up later.
probably go for this one first here.
I'll see you at the gym.
Sounds good.
How far ahead do you plan your playthroughs? Usually like a month or two in advance. I have like idea of what I'm gonna be playing, but not that far.
You are correct.
The Korean Mafia is in GTA 5, but you really don't see any characters from them. They're just like more of a street gang.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Yeah, I will play through the Yakuza games one day, all of them. Do cartels jump people randomly? Yes, they do. And that's the thing about the cartel, is that the cartel are a lot different than a lot of other organized crime, because a lot of organized crime, they don't jump people on the streets, rob them. The cartel does that. But when the cartel does that, what they tend to do is the cartel actually blockades like highways and roads where like a lot of tourists go. So like where there's like a lot of tourists, they'll actually do roadblocks, and then like when people pull up, they will charge a toll to actually go through the area. And the reason they're able to get away with stuff like that is because of the corruption in Mexico. There's so much corruption in Mexico, and like a lot of the times the police are not doing anything about that. Like in America, if like the Italian mafia tried to shut down like a highway and charge people a toll, they're gonna get arrested really quick. So, like, if you ever go on YouTube and you look up, there's, like, those really scary videos, like cartel roadblocks, like, you'll see stuff like that. And that's primarily because it's either the police in Mexico is incompetent, under-equipped, or they're corrupt. What happens to tourists in that situation? They pay the toll. They pay the toll, or they get seriously hurt or killed. Like if you just Google like American tourists getting murdered in Mexico, there's so many cases of that happening. It actually happened recently again.
Why do you... Big win. Let's go play golf.
No, Mexico is worth visiting. There's nice places to visit in Mexico. Just be very careful where you visit specifically in Mexico. So there's great places to visit too. I'm pretty sure Baja in Mexico is a safe place to visit because it's like a very tourist rich area. There's like casinos and hotels, and of course in those areas they want a lot of security. So they want security to make sure that like tourists are welcome, because if tourists know the area is dangerous, they're not going to come. So I'm pretty sure Baja is like one of the more safer areas. I'm not a complete expert, so maybe somebody who lives in Mexico can tell me in the chat what the most safest areas are. But yeah, the cartel will sometimes stop like roads and set up roadblocks, and they'll charge people like a toll to go through. So the thing about this is that, like I was saying earlier, even if you get rid of all drugs, it's not going to get rid of the cartels. They're still going to do stuff like that, like hold up roadblocks. They're still going to do stuff like that. Any plans to expand your rental properties? Yeah, I wanna buy one more rental property, one more. And when I buy that other rental property, that's probably gonna be it for me with the rental properties. And then what I'm gonna do is I want to purchase my parents a home and just start saving up money to purchase my parents a nice home.
Wow, you're actually cute.
My parents want to retire. My dad's retired. My mom wants to retire in 2 years, and they want to move out of New York, and I want to get them a really nice home somewhere.
Hey, girl.
What other gangs besides the Cartel are going to be in GTA 6? The Russian Mafia is going to be in GTA 6. Because the Russian Mafia owns a really big cocaine smuggling network in Vice City in the GTA game. So if you follow the GTA lore, the Russian Mafia has a pretty big presence in Vice City. So we haven't seen Vice City, but except for GTA 6, but in GTA 4, They specifically say that the Russian mafia has massive connections in Vice City, and they have an entire drug operation in Vice City. So you will see the Russian mafia are gonna come back in GTA 6, but their boss is gonna be Petrovich. That's who their boss is gonna be in GTA 6. But they'll be there. Any chance you'll do Half-Life Black Mesa? I've actually never played the Half-Life games. I know that people really want a third game. I've actually never played them. Maybe I could play them one day. Thank you, General's Alert, for the super chat. My uncle said if he was given a month to live, he would take every drug. That's why he said... That's why he said he would... do what? Thank you, Amateur, for the super chat. A bit confused. No, Tommy Vercetti does not exist in the HD universe. No, you won't see him.
Just get by.
When did you decide to invest in rental properties? Has it become a passion of yours? I wanted to start up a business. I wanted to start up some kind of business. And it was something else because... And the primary reason that I wanted to start up a business is because I did not want to be dependent on just only YouTube income. So, like, I wanted an extra income, something else. And I wanted to start up a business, but I didn't know what kind of business I would run. I didn't know what kind of business. And I was thinking, like, is it going to be a store? I was like, nah, probably not. Like, I wouldn't have time for that. And you know, you would probably have to pay employees, and then there'd be, like, a lot of bureaucracy, getting, like, a business license and everything else like that. And I was thinking, no, probably not a store. It'd be too complicated. I was thinking at that point, I was thinking like a self-run business. I was thinking like a business that I could run by myself. I wouldn't really need any employees, and it's not complicated to run either. I was thinking about buying a laundromat at one point. I know that might sound crazy, but laundromats can be profitable if they're in the right location. And I was thinking about opening up a laundromat, maybe like hiring somebody to like help me out with that. But then I was thinking like it's a hit or a miss. Like I could open it up and I could get really unlucky. So I was thinking, no, not the laundromat. And then what I was thinking is like a self car wash. I was thinking about that, but those were really expensive to like buy, like the bays and everything like that. That's just super expensive. So I was like, no. And then ultimately I decided like I was like rental properties. I'll do that. It's gonna be expensive to get into, but it's simple. You know, anybody can learn it. And you don't need to take a class to learn how to be a landlord. It's so it's not a complicated business to run. I would say that about it. It's a really rental properties are a business anybody can really run. Anybody can. Yeah, there's the water bill, the maintenance. You got to clean out the vents too. Vending machines. About the vending machines, I want to start up a vending machine business. That I want to start up. I think I can do that. That is and I've never run a vending machine business, but from everything that I've seen about vending machine businesses, from what I've seen, are the easiest business that really anybody can start. Vending machines businesses do not require, you know, thousands of dollars to start up like other businesses. You can buy a good vending machine on Facebook Marketplace for a few $100s, and just start up your business then at that point. But the thing is, though, is that the hardest thing about a vending machine business, the hardest thing about it, is trying to find locations. That's the hardest thing. Like trying to find a place where you can set up the vending machine, because you need a place you can put it in, and then you got to talk to the manager at the place wherever it is, and try to think about that too. Never could have guessed you're 30. Feels like I'm the only one that has gotten older since I started watching around 28-ish. Oh, thank you, Zero Blocks Productions, and thank you for watching me for some time. Thank you, dude. Thank you, man. Thank you, dude. Thank you for being with my channel for 6 years. Thanks, dude. Do you have to pay to manage your income? Well, the thing is, though, a lot of vending machine businesses, from what I've seen, they actually do not pay the manager anything at the locations. And how they get away with that is what they do is they tell the manager a lot of times that they'll put it in the break room. They're offering like a service, you know, stuff like that. What I probably would do is, I probably, if I had a vending machine business, I probably would offer the manager some kind of like, I probably would look like for a hotel or something like that, and what I would probably offer the manager is I would offer him like an upfront, you know, basically like, deal. So I would tell him like a certain amount of money. I don't know exactly the amount of money I would offer. I would have to look that up. But I would offer him like a certain amount of money. Like, hey, can I place my vending machine business with you for like a year? And like I would not agree to like paying like 20% or 10% of all sales. I would instead just want to pay him like a one big fee and just get it over with. That's probably what I would do. So that's how I would probably do it. But if you're gonna do something like that, make sure you get it in writing. Make sure you get a contract, because like the manager tells you, oh, $2,000 put the vending machine in my business. You pay him, and then like after a month, he's like, get out of here. And then he's like, I'm gonna keep your $2,000 now. So like make sure you have like some kind of time limit or something like that written down with them. Are your rental properties a single property like a house or a unit? They're houses. So 2 houses. Damn, where is this? Wow, that's far. Okay. I heard about that. Jimmy Carter passed away. How would you react if the president and the government decided to declare war on the cartels? Well, I think the cartels should be labeled terrorist organizations. I think they should. I think they should be broken apart, destroyed. They have just become an absolute menace, and they have just... How many lives have they destroyed? I don't really get involved in politics. I tend to stay away from that, but I would support the cartel being labeled terrorist organizations. The vending machines are a great passive income. Very little risk or work, but not huge profits either. Yeah, and that's the thing about vending machines is vending machines become very very profitable if you have a bunch of them. If you only have one, it's not really that profitable. It'll give you some extra cash every month. But if you have a bunch of them, that's really where the profits come in, when you have a lot of them at once. From what I've seen, from all my research that I've done, is drink machines are apparently the most profitable ones. Wait, what's ridiculous, Twangy? Let me go to location here. Well, no, I'm not getting involved in politics. I'm staying away from that. I don't really discuss it. But if the cartels were labeled terrorist organizations, the U.S. government has way more resources to deal with them and way more resources to do something about that. These guys have just caused so much suffering and chaos that it's just that's that. But the controversy of labeling them terrorist organizations, what the roadblock is going to be there is, for somebody to be a terrorist organization, they have to have a political ideology. Like, they have to have some kind of ideology, and the cartels doesn't really have an ideology. Their ideology is just money. They just want to make money. That's just primarily it. But that's so that's where it's going to be hard labeling them a terrorist organization, because of the fact that they're primarily bit for profit. They're criminals that just want to make money. I would re-enlist tomorrow if they said we were going after the cartel. So thank you, Amateur, for the super chat. Hopefully the cartels get stopped. I'll play the Judgment games one day, yes. I saw the first Sicario movie many years ago, but I didn't see the second one. So I saw the first one. Do I know Dark Viper AU? Yeah, I've talked to him before. We made videos together. Yeah, I talked to him. I talked to him off camera too. He's a really nice guy. He's a really chill guy. In Pro, we trust. No idea why people are behaving like this off rumors. Yeah, I like. People went crazy with the whole December 27th stuff. I feel bad for TGG that he started getting harassed over it too. He was just messing around with it, and people took it way too seriously. But what are your thoughts on drone warfare? About drone warfare is drone warfare has a plus and a negative to it. And the plus of it is that you are not putting your soldiers in harm's way. It's a robot that's in the sky. But the negative of it is that drones can cause a lot of civilian casualties, a lot of them. So that's the thing, is you're not putting your own soldiers in danger, but a lot of civilians can end up getting killed. And for example, is most civilians that the United States killed in the Middle East died from drone strikes. That's how most civilians died. It wasn't intentional; it was accidents and like bad targeting. But that was like that was as a result of drone warfare. So like drones can end up killing a lot of civilians. So that's the only pro I can think of it, is that your soldiers aren't being put in harm's way directly, but it's extremely dangerous.
Time was, a brother used to know who to trust around here. Not no more. Yeah, brother.
I've never had a meltdown when I worked at retail. So when I worked at retail, I've never had a freak out. I've always kept my cool, but there was times where I was thinking in my head I was getting pissed. Well, if you remember, there was that drone strike that happened like a couple years ago, where it was like right after the Afghanistan evacuation. It was like in 2021, and it was when the American soldiers died in the bombing, and the government was trying to find out who did it. And what the government did was they fired a drone in Afghanistan, and then the government was like celebrating it, saying, "Yeah, we got them, we got the people that did it," but they ended up killing an entire family and kids with that. They hit the wrong target. So that's like a consequence of drone warfare. It's just so many civilians die from it, and the government was really stupid. I don't know what kind of intel they got from that, but can we play Helldivers 2 sometime? Sure, Own Titan, we can. Hey Pro, I play solo. Is Agents of Sabotage worth it? I just want another business. You can do all the missions solo. I actually recorded a guide on my channel that you can watch, how to complete all of them solo the fastest way possible. I think that'll help you out, nicest person in the universe. Thank you for the super chat.
Looking good. That was insane.
My first sale got blown up by some idiot. Oh, I'm sorry that you went through that. Dude, that really sucks. I know, you spend like hours grinding it, and some morons with an oppressor will just blow it all up and it's gone. Yeah, I know it sucks. There we go. Okay, we're already 30% of the way there. Have I been bullied in school? I've never been bullied to the point where like people punched me and like took my lunch money. It never happened like that. Like I never got beat up or stuff like that. But I did have people being very rude to me, very not nice to me when I was in school when I was a kid. It was a full shipment of 244,000. What were you selling specifically? Weren't you friends with the jocks though? Not really. I was more friendly with them. Like I had really no problems with them. So they were cool with me, but it wasn't to the point where we were like hanging out. And the thing is, there was really nothing there was really nothing for them to protect me from. It wasn't like I needed them to protect me from getting jumped or something like that. It wasn't like that. It was just people being rude to me. So like, what are they gonna do if somebody's being rude to me? And honestly, I tell you something is like if I would have like asked the jocks for help of somebody being rude to me, I would have been looked at as like a laughing stock. So that's so it was never really like that to that point, but I'm from Kosovo, where the NATO and the U.S. also used drones to target the Yugoslav troops, but ended up killing Albanian refugees fleeing from the Serbs. Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear about that, Ardian. That's why drone warfare is just so bad. Civilians constantly keep getting hit by it. It's yeah, and drone warfare is just so scary today because you could be the best soldier ever, like the absolute best soldier ever, but then you could just get unlucky. There could be like a drone in the sky, you don't even see it, and you're dead. Just one click, you're dead. That's it, done. That's what's honestly so scary about drone warfare. It's just absolutely terrifying. And the thing about that is like if I was a soldier, I would be absolutely paranoid. I would be constantly looking at the skies. I would just be terrified. So like that. No, I've never watched a Squid Game. Thank you, General's Alert.
Oh shit!
I'll play the Wolfenstein games one day, yes. Hey, Professional, love your videos. Will I ever play Jak 2? Yeah, and if I play Jak 2, I'd play Jak 1, because I played Jak 1 too. Sorry, gotta deliver pizza here. Uh, not really like that, zombie. Do you think that private military companies should be abolished? Um, and Wagner, which Blackwater's the American mercenaries, and then Wagner are the Russian mercenaries. And what I'll say about them is that both of them are really bad people. Both Blackwater and Wagner, both of them are really bad. They're both bad guys. They both, Wagner has committed, oh, my stream? What's wrong with my stream here? Stream froze? Hang on a second to stream. Okay. Okay, is it good now? Okay, we're back. I don't know why it's happening. I have gig speed internet, so I don't know why. If that happens, guys, just refresh the stream if that happens. Can everyone hear me now? Is everything fine with the stream now? Is everything okay? I will do it a little bit later, Corey. Okay. So, what I was trying to say now is, one guy was asking me, said mercenaries be banned, private military contractors, and my answer to that is yes or no. So, what I was trying to say here is that when we think of mercenaries, we think of bad people who are profiting off of war and misery, and the two most well-known mercenary groups in the world are Wagner, the Russian mercenaries, and Blackwater, the American mercenaries. Now, Blackwater has committed horrible, war crimes in Iraq, and Wagner has committed horrible war crimes in Ukraine, and also Syria. So, is that both of these, these Russian mercenaries and these American mercenaries, they're both bad people. And the thing about them is that both the Russian government and the American government protect them. And the thing about this is the U.S. government's position on Wagner is that it's an evil, evil group, which it is. But then at the same time, as the U.S. government says that Blackwater is a good group. It's an honest, good group. It's not. And so the Russian position is that Blackwater are evil mercenaries, but Wagner is okay. And the American position is that Blackwater is okay, but Wagner are evil mercenaries. So both of these countries, like Russia and America, they will both protect their mercenaries, and then they'll attack each other's mercenaries as being bad when they're both doing it. They're both bad. So to answer your question, should mercenaries be banned? In warfare, yes. So like when it comes to like warfare, like Blackwater and Wagner, there should not be organizations like that. Those should be banned. But there are good mercenaries out there. There are mercenaries that are not bad people like Wagner or Blackwater. And what I mean is defensive mercenaries. There are mercenaries who engage primarily in defense. They don't engage in any kind of warfare, any kind of offensive operations. They engage primarily in defending. And a perfect example of this is cargo ships. Like a lot of cargo ships in like the African coast, for example, have been saved by mercenaries. So like a lot of these cargo ships, these companies will hire mercenaries, and these are not like Blackwater or Wagner. These are just like smaller companies, but they're technically mercenaries. They're private military contractors. They will hire these mercenaries, and these guys will have like a vest. They'll have like a bulletproof vest. They'll have plates. They'll carry like an assault rifle. And then what they will do is they will protect the cargo ships from pirates. And so these mercenaries have protected these cargo ships from pirates. Now, if you banned mercenaries, what you would be doing is you would be putting those ships at risk because those ships cannot, protect themselves now. So those mercenaries, those private military contractors, are protecting the cargo ships from getting raided. So to answer the question fully, mercenaries should be banned when it comes to warfare. Any kind of offensive operations like war, mercenaries should not be allowed. They should be banned. But when it comes to, defensive things like protecting, like, buildings, like, banks and, like, train stations and, like, protecting, like, cargo ships, I don't think they should be banned in that regard. The UN forces. I'm sorry to say this, Alex, the United Nations is like a joke. A lot of times, like, the United Nations is not as helpful as protecting a lot of people. They do good in some places, don't get me wrong, but the United Nations has failed in so many places, and the United Nations cannot be there to protect everybody. So that's why a lot of like companies will outsource to like private military contractors. Thoughts on starting up PMCs aside visible? Thank you, Amateur, for the super chat. That is not something easy to start. Did I ever get mad about a bad grade in school? Of course I did. Of course I did. There have been times where I've gotten mad about it, and the times that I got the most mad about having a bad grade is when it was not my fault. That was situations that I had this one situation. I never forgot it, and I told the story a few times, but I'll tell it for you here again. But basically, when I was in college, I had this one lab class. And in this one lab class, what happened was, how it worked is, we were in groups of 2. And we got assigned, like, a project. And that project had to be done within, like, a week. It was, like, a weekly project, usually, week or 2 weeks. And so how it would work is one person would do the research on one thing, the other person would do the research on the other, and then what we would do is we would compare both our notes. So we would compare both our notes, and we would submit the assignment together. And so what happened is my partner was absent for most of the week, and I did most of my part of the work. He didn't do his part of the work. And then my partner came in before the weekend, and he's like, "I'm sorry, I've been out a bit. Can I take part of your project here home? I'll compare it with my notes, and then I'll submit it to the teacher with my part together." And I said, "Okay, that's fine." And the thing about this is, the teacher, the professor, he saw me give my notes to my partner, and he was fine with it. He had no problem with it, so he saw it. He was fine with it. And then what ended up happening is that guy never came back to class. He never did. He dropped the class after that, and he took my project. He took my work home. He didn't even give it back to me. He didn't have the decency to come back to class and give it back to me. He just dropped the class. And what ended up happening is the teacher gave me a 0. Yep, he gave me a 0 for that, and I argued with the teacher. I told the teacher, "It's not my fault. You saw me give it to him. I did the work. At least let me make up the work." But no, he gave me 0, and what he did was he embarrassed me in front of the class, and he literally said to the class, this is what happens when you trust people too much. Your problem is you trust people too much. He, embarrassed me in front of the class like that. And I never forgot that. And it always bothered me so much. That happened over 11 years ago when that happened. And even though that happened over 11 years ago, I never forgot it. It was because I almost never got a 0 in school. I never got zeros. I never did. And that was, one of the few times I did get a 0, and it bothered me so much. It bothered me so much. I know it's been so many years, but it's I've never gotten over it. And I've just been so pissed about that I got a 0 for something that was not my fault, and the teacher just embarrassed me in front of the class and made fun of me, and it was such a ridiculous thing. Some of my classmates actually said to me in the hallway, "Don't worry about it. The teacher's an asshole." That's what they said. But it was I didn't appreciate that he gave me a 0 and then proceeded to make fun of me in front of the entire class, saying my problem is I trust people too much. I did tell this story, yes. I did tell this story in the group project video. But I was so pissed about that. I was annoyed. I've earned, right now, $351,000 delivering pizzas. So about 35% of the way there. Would you tell that teacher off? I actually kind of did. I told him off without getting directly in trouble. So basically what I did was, that teacher that gave me that bad grade, Draken International is a private air force who provides Redford training for the USMC. I think that's a valid service that's never really brought up. Thank you, Zero Blocks Productions. Well, like I was saying, is that there are good mercenary groups that do not engage in warfare. They don't engage in offensive operations. They engage in protection and training, stuff like that. And there's nothing really wrong with that. The problem with mercenaries is when they're used in a war zone, like Blackwater or Wagner. Those groups should not be allowed. But defensive contractors would protect cargo ships from pirates and stuff like that. There's nothing really wrong with that. Thank you for the super chat. But what I was saying about that teacher, I did tell him off. But I told him off in a way that I wouldn't get in trouble for. What I basically did was, a couple weeks after that incident where he gave me a 0, what my teacher was doing is he was ranting about the American education system. And what he was complaining about the American education system, he was actually from a different country. And he was complaining how the American education system is so complex, and he was saying that every single state has a different curriculum, every single state has different education standards, it should be universal, and just going off on stuff like that. And he was saying Americans are behind the rest of the world, and just talking like that. And I interrupted him, and I started arguing with him in the middle of class about that, because I might not be good at science and stuff like that, but when it comes to I would say it's situations like that, education, maybe more world affairs, I'm a little bit more knowledgeable about stuff like that. And what I basically did was I told him what he wasn't calculating into that and what he wasn't putting into that. And I told him, does America have lower test scores than some European and Asian countries? Sure, they do. But the thing is, though, is America has more freedom than other countries when it comes to education. That's what he was not bringing up. So we might have lower test scores in certain regards, but America does have more freedom, because in America, for example, is you can choose what kind of education your kids get. So, if you want to send your kids to a public school, you can do that. You want to send them to a religious school, you can do that. You want to send them to a private school, you can do that. You want to homeschool your kids, you can do that. And not only that, but every single state has the right to decide their education. The idea of America as a country is that almost every single state is like its own country in a way. It's a little mini country held together by the federal government. And in every single state, the people in that state, they vote for the education. They choose what kind of education they get. And that's what the teacher was not understanding. So he basically was making fun of Americans, saying that Americans are behind and everything like that. And I told him very plainly, I said to him, I would rather have lower test scores in my country, but have the freedom to decide what kind of education I want, versus being forced by the government. So that's the thing, is that's what he doesn't understand, and he was so baffled by this. Like, he didn't understand me at all. Like, he had no words. He didn't understand that. Like, he thought that high test scores mean everything, like really high test scores. But I told him no. I'd rather have the freedom to choose my own education and have lower test scores than be basically forced by the government to learn a specific way. So, like, do you want every single person to basically learn the exact same thing? You want every single person? Because if the government teaches every single person in every single state the exact same thing, it's like we're not going to have any kind of debate. Everybody's basically going to believe the exact same thing. It's like we're all going to be like robots, basically. So I'd rather each state decide on its own education instead of just having some thing where all 50 states are learning the exact same thing. And so I basically argued with him. I shut him down on that. And that was kind of my revenge of that. That was kind of me getting back at him for giving me the zeros. I kind of, argued with him about that, and I kind of embarrassed him. I don't think I changed his mind at all, but I could see that I made him a bit uncomfortable, and he wasn't very happy about the, about my comments. And what I did was I wrapped it up with him, is he told me that the education should be, the same in all states, and I said, do you think that somebody in Alaska should be learning the exact same thing as somebody in New York? The states are so far apart, they're so different. And I said, in one state like New York, for example, if you gave New Yorkers like classes on farming, that would be completely useless to them, because most New Yorkers are not farmers. New York is a very urban state. Yes, there is upstate New York, but where I grew up, it was a very urban area. So where I grew up, it was more city and suburbs, and there was like almost no farms. So like farming classes in like a place like that would be completely useless. But farming classes in a different state, maybe one of the Midwestern states, would be actually very helpful. So it literally is, you have to judge every single state by what the people in that state want, how they run things. Because what works in one state might not work in another state, and that's what people do not seem to understand. So, for me personally, I don't care if Americans have lower test scores than other countries. Like, other countries can show off, other countries can brag, oh, we have higher test scores than the Americans. I don't care. At least in America, you have the freedom to choose what kind of education you want. You're not forced to do it a specific way by the government. So that's basically my whole point in that.
What's going on, my dude?
I heard about Jimmy Carter passing away, yes. What are you talking about, Skip? What are you... Remember, you can get arrested in some European countries for saying certain things online. I don't want to hear any of these people's criticism. Thank you, Mario, for the super chat. Thank you, dude. Nico and I are making great progress on episode 3. Oh, episode 3 of your series. I wish you luck in DL Gaming. How many episodes are you going to have in total? Listening to you in these videos, you're such a nerd. That's why I like the videos, so thank you. Gonna head out. Had a good time with the stream. Have a nice night. Bye and God bless. Well, thank you. Thank you, Godfather. I'll see you. Take care, man. Yeah, that is a point there, Isaiah, too. I will agree with you there, Anho, that there are some states that teach like a false history. I agree with you. There are some southern states that they teach like false facts about the Civil War. Like they will teach, for example, that the Civil War had nothing to do with slavery when it was pretty much everything about slavery. So there are, bad situations like you have like that. I will concede that there are some problems, but But for the most part in America, is the good thing is that you can choose your education, and that the government largely stays out of the education. But you do have some bad situations like in some of those southern states. What's your opinion on the Second Amendment? Well, I'm a very big history guy, and I'm a very big constitutional guy, and so I read the Constitution as it is, and I believe that the Second Amendment grants an individual right to own a firearm. So I don't think that I don't think that it's a collective right. I think it's an individual right, and I think that people do have a right to own a firearm. Uh, how come you call petrol diesel cars gas when it's a liquid? It's just the way it is. It's just part of our culture, our slang. We just call it gas cars. Your mic cutting out? No, is my mic fine, everyone? Have I ever been to Europe? The last time I was in Europe was 2010 in Poland. Okay, here we go. And well, what I will say about that, Laskiff, is that there is limits to what somebody can do, and what Alan was doing in Modern Warfare 2 was wrong. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care if his goal was noble in the end. It was how he reached that goal was terrible. Oh, come on.
Yeah, what's crack? Oh shit! I thought you later in the show. Whoa! Hey! That's dude!
What's the best way to make money? Cayo Perico or Dr. Dre? Do Cayo Perico. Easier, it's more simple to run. Yeah, Cayo Perico. And Cayo Perico solo is not that hard. It's actually, when you do it with teammates, it's actually harder, ironically. Usually when you do something with teammates, it's easier, but Cayo Perico is actually harder with teammates. Oh, the Cubans are definitely going to be in GTA 6 100%. Do you own everything? No, I don't own everything in the game. There's a lot of clothes I don't own and a lot of cars I don't own too, but almost all the properties I own.
That's insane!
Okay. 43% of the way there, we're doing pretty good. My favorite president, uh,
Fucking tool. No.
Whoa.
Oh, fuck. Oh my god. Oh
hard
my
one to
god.
answer. I will answer it more in historical time periods. My favorite president in the 18th century would have to be George Washington. My favorite president in the 19th century would have to be Abraham Lincoln. My favorite president in the 20th century would have to be Teddy Roosevelt.
Fucking bitch.
Have you been to all the states? No. Oh, 24th century I'm not going to get into, because that's just modern politics, and modern politics is a mess. I saw a video where a shoplifting the owner decided to chase the kid instead of calling the police. Where'd this happen? Bismarck is the farthest I've gone, Zach. Oh, come on. That was... I would have taken the jump in the parking lot. That was such a... I think that everybody should vote. No matter how people believe, people should always vote for what they believe. So I think everybody should always vote. I was always under the view that if you don't vote, you don't have a right to complain. That's the way that I've always seen it. Pizza time. Thank you. Uh, thank you, Basie, Gemina. Thank you for the super chat. Yes, Lincoln's repeater in Fallout 3. What languages do you speak? Me, it's Ukrainian, Russian, French, and English. I speak English and Polish and some Spanish, but I'm still learning it. My father, on the other hand, is the most, knows the most amount of languages of any person that I know. My father, he speaks English, Polish, Russian, Ukrainian, Belarusian, so he speaks a lot of languages. Speak Polish now for 10 seconds. Jak się masz, co chcesz mnie spytać? Ja pokazuję tobie, że ja umiem gadać po polsku. How are you? Do you want to ask me anything? I'm showing you that I can speak Polish. No hablo español. Yo estudio español todos los días. Mi español es muy malo y yo hablo español pequeño. Okay. Was my Spanish there good, or was it terrible? I speak Spanish, and that was pretty good. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I was born in the U.S. My Spanish level is John Marston level. Thank you. You speak Polish very well. Thank you. Did he just, the NPC say your wheels killer? What? Okay, we are about, 48% of the way there. Almost half. We're getting there. Yeah, I know. Dane Vogel can speak Japanese in Saints Row 2. Oh, and also the thing about this is there's a lot of symbolism when Kazuo Okuji actually meets Dane Vogel, and they sever their relations. There's actually a lot of symbolism in that. If you notice, when Kazuo Okuji he speaks to Dane Vogel in Japanese, so like when he can speak fluent English, but he chooses to speak to Dane Vogel in Japanese. And he says, I remember what he says in Japanese. He says, "Why should I care?" That's what he says in Japanese, and that's basically that's heavily insulting Dane Vogel because he's in America, and he's choosing to speak to him in Japanese, hoping that he doesn't understand it, and says, you know, why should I care? It's more it's just showing massive disrespect for Vogel, and Vogel saw right through that too. It was Kazuo trying to dominate the conversation, but he was dealing with a ruthless businessman like Vogel, and that was his downfall right there. Have I ever played Helldivers 2? Yes, I have. I've recently got it. Is Dane Vogel a psychopath? He could be. He's a ruthless businessman. He has no empathy. Setup tour when? I will be honest with you, no, my setup is nothing impressive. Like, people saw my setup, like, they'd be like, that's your setup? It's nothing really that impressive. And I don't really need a crazy setup. What I have works for me. I'm not cheap or anything, but it's like, I'm not, I don't need all this crazy stuff if what I'm having right now is works for me fine. Is it bad to be cheap? It depends on what you're being cheap on specifically. If you're if you're if you're being cheap on to you know, to screw other people over, no, of course not. If you're being cheap on your health and your food, that's of course really bad.
It's so hard juggling all the modeling and acting and being a DJ.
Oh, great, I gotta drive it in here.
Oh, sure.
Oh, I gotta go around. Helldiver stream 2 when? That'll be a glorious day for Super Earth. When the President drinks his first sip of liberty for democracy. Thank you, Cheap Taco Man. Thank you, Fernando. Thank you for being a member of my channel for 5 years also. Thank you, Fernando. Your bully playthrough was so good. Thank you, dude.
Whatever.
Thoughts on Jimmy Carter passing away? It's sad. He lived a very long life. 100 years old. That was one of the oldest. I think he might have been the oldest surviving president in American history. What I will say about Jimmy Carter is people give Jimmy Carter a lot of crap, but one good thing that I will say about Jimmy Carter is during his presidency there was no wars, there was no intervention, there was no wars. We didn't get into any kind of stupid conflict. There was relative stability and peace. And so that's what I'll say, is that was probably Jimmy Carter's best accomplishment, is that he kept us out of stupid conflicts during his presidency. What's your question, Katos? No, I haven't seen Oppenheimer. Bully's map was good. I liked it. I'm not really gonna get involved in politics, Isaiah. But I think that more government does not solve the problem.
Look out! Christ almighty!
I had like 3 hours and 9 minutes is like my last score for like getting $1 million, so hopefully I can finish it quicker than that this time. Genuine thanks for being, my favorite streamer. Love your Yakuza videos. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Dragon Blaine. Thank you, man. Oh. The Balla's house that we're delivering the pizza to here now. Who's the biggest scumbag in the 3D universe? Probably Tenpenny. What would happen if daylight savings time gets abolished? Would you... I think that everyone can agree daylight savings time needs to go. It's really annoying. Yeah. This isn't a political stream, Mr. Drums. I tend to stay away from it. $526,000, so 52% of the way there. We're doing good. Oh, Helldivers. When I'll do Helldivers. I will, I don't know. That's a good question. I'd have to think of something, some kind of cosplay I can do for Helldivers too if I do it. Actually, get that one first.
Some people have all the money in the houses. The rest
You're looking good. Watch it.
Yeah, $526,000 in about an hour and 30 minutes of work on it too. Yep.
Oh my god! Hey, wait!
I can do that one day. Division 1 also takes place in New York. My hometown. Yeah, we could do that one day. There's one all the way in Chumash. Oh, that's gonna suck. Okay. Oh yeah, that would have been sucked if the snow was affecting the heat loss, yeah. What about Afghanistan? Didn't that start under Carter's administration, so that the Iran hostage crisis? So I don't think you're right on that. Well, the thing about that is that what happened with those situations is that was not us directly intervening in other situations. Like the Afghanistan situation, it was the Soviets who did that. And the Iran hostage crisis, that was right after the revolution when that had happened. That the Shah had fallen in Iran. But what I was basically getting at is that we didn't really have like an Iraq or a Vietnam under him. And we didn't have like wars like that under him. The smartest GTA protagonist? That's a good question. That took us to Watergate, Richard Nixon. Oh, man. Azerbaijan and South Korea, yes. These, thank you, No, for the super chat. The South Korean plane, I don't think they deployed their gears, or it was stuck, and then there was like a wall at the end of the runway, which ended up killing most people when the plane burst into flames at the end of the runway. The Azerbaijan plane crash, that was a shoot down. It got shot down by a Russian missile, I'm pretty sure.
Stupid dick!
Yeah, well, the Russians didn't shoot the Russians didn't shoot the Azerbaijani plane down on purpose. They thought that it was a drone. I'm not defending the, Russians in the war, but I'm saying is that they weren't trying to intentionally target a civilian aircraft. It was an accident. They thought it was like a drone or something in their airspace, but it was but the people whoever did that should be held responsible. I know the president of Azerbaijan has said that the people who were involved in shooting down the plane, that they should be extradited to Azerbaijan. So
What is this shit?
okay, deliver this pizza here. What's wrong, X-Rex? But I don't think that Russia is going to extradite the people that are involved in that, though. They're not going to. No, I'm already more than halfway there. We'll get there. We got 2 miles here now. Yes, the coup that happened in South Korea, I saw that, yeah. Hopefully I can make it there before the heat goes down. I think I can. There's a shortcut I know here too. This is gonna be close. Wait, what? Kobe? You should, thank you for the super chat. You should call the police and tell her to call the police, too. Well, they weren't PMC. They were government troops in Dead Rising 1, but I don't know the reason for that, Isaiah. 2 miles, okay. 57% of the way there. Yes, the Walking Dead games one day I'll play them, the Telltale ones. They were pretty good. Oh, it's just a snow event for GTA. It's just, well, they've always done that every December. I don't know if GTA 4 can handle mobile. It's just a fun thing they're doing for the holidays. They've always done it like this. Okay, here we go. My favorite Christmas movie? I don't know. I actually don't think I can really name any Christmas movies right now. More of a sociopath, Isaiah. He cared about his sister, too. Whoa. The snow is messing me up a bit there. Have you ever wondered if Rockstar announces that GTA 6 will be cancelled? The internet will go crazy if it happens, and they should do it for April Fools. Oh, I don't think they would do anything like that, even if it was an April Fool's thing, because their stock would fall so much and it would piss off the investors. I don't think they would ever do something like that. Thank you, Mr. Jesus, for the super chat. My favorite chapter of Yakuza... Maybe it's right now where, like, Majima is trying to find out what's going on. Tax season is coming up. Are you writing it? I hate taxes so much every year. Thank you, No, for the super chat. Trying to calculate everything, figuring out, you know, your expenses and all the other stuff. I hate doing all of that. It's bureaucracy and so much stuff. A lot of times I think if we got rid of income tax, I think it would help so many people out and people would have more money in their pockets and they wouldn't have to do this ridiculous tax every single year. No, I don't really have any New Year's resolutions. I think that the U.S. government, could get funded through a sales tax. I think if the federal government put like a 1% sales tax on everything that you buy, I think they could get their funds from that without needing to do a federal income tax every single year. Because here's the thing about this is federal income taxes are just the reason I've never liked income taxes, I hate income taxes, is because income taxes punish you for making more money. So the more money you make, the more you're punished. But also on top of that is the super rich get away with it too. So the thing is though, is that what people always say, we need to patch up the loopholes and then the rich aren't going to be able to get around the income tax. But what they don't understand is that the super rich people, like the billionaires, for example, the billionaires, they have these ridiculous lawyers. And these ridiculous lawyers know the tax code so well, they can, like, read into every single little thing, and they can get around not having to pay it, or very little. Meanwhile, if you have, like, somebody who's, like, just a regular millionaire, they're not gonna have, like, a team of all those lawyers to, like, you know, get around that and do all that stuff. So, millionaire is gonna actually end up paying more than the billionaire. And then the working class person is also not going to have all those resources, so they're going to get screwed over too. So that's why income tax, no matter what you do to an income tax, it's always going to screw over everyone except the really super rich, because the really super rich are going to get around that. So that's well, sales tax can hurt low income families, but if you get rid of the income tax altogether, they're going to have a lot more money in their pockets. Like, if you had to choose, would you rather have a 1% federal sales tax on everything you buy, or have a federal income tax at the end of the year? I'd rather have a 1% federal income tax, sales tax, than have to deal with the income tax at the end of the year every time. So, if you got rid of the federal income tax, that would put a lot more money in people's pockets. You're my favorite YouTuber. Thank you, Jonathan. Well, this guy's already getting another pizza already. When GTA 6 comes out, when GTA 5 online servers stop being supported by Rockstar, do you think Rockstar should add all online content to single player? They're not going to do that. But Marco, the servers, that would require a lot of work for them to add all the online content to single player. But also on top of that, Marco, yeah, the GTA Online servers are not going to get shut down. So like 10 years from now, GTA Online servers are still going to be up. They're not going to get shut down. PS3 and Xbox 360, sure, yes. But on PS5, no, there's really no reason to shut them down, and people are still going to keep playing this for years to come, so I don't think it's going to happen. Why are Scandinavian countries so successful? They invest their money the right way. The thing I will say about that is that these countries are not socialist countries. A lot of people, what they do is they point to like Scandinavian countries like Sweden and Norway, and what they will do is they'll say, "Oh, these are socialist countries," but they're not socialist countries. Sweden and Norway are still very much capitalist countries. They're still private property. The government, corporations are not controlled by the government. And the thing about that is that foreign investors can go and invest in Norway. So if I wanted to go and invest in Norway tomorrow as an American, I can do that. Socialist countries don't generally allow you to do stuff like that. Now, there is one socialist country that I can think of, Venezuela. Venezuela is an actual socialist country, and Venezuela is not working out well for them. In what game, Kevin? You're talking about World at War?
Hey, hit me up on Life Invader later. Right on.
Are you bored at this point? No, I'm having fun. I'm reading the chat, talking to you guys too. Why are you mad at me? There we go. 65%. Okay, I think I like both the Soviet and the American campaign equally because they both covered very different periods of the war.
Who owe me 20 bucks?
Okay, here we go.
I will send you money. Huh. You make me sick. Asshole.
Oh, great. Why are some of these so far? If I had to go to World War II, which front would I take? European or Pacific? European. Yeah, Pacific. Pacific is just way more brutal. Okay, there we go. After this, we'll be at 70%. We're about to hit 700k. There we go, pizza time. Do I think Manhunt 3 would work in Tijuana? Tijuana, Mexico? That might be an interesting setting also for a Manhunt game. Whoa, whoa, okay. Almost spun out there.
Well, I didn't take it. Hey, man.
You are looking toast delicious.
Okay. Two more, but at least they're a little far away, but at least they're right next to each other. At least there's that. I think this is actually faster than the post-op van, yeah. I think it is.
You're gonna cause a traffic accident.
Well, there is no Bigfoot in GTA 5, it's a guy dressed as Bigfoot. No, I've actually, surprisingly, never played the Sly Cooper games, but I know them. No, I've never seen it snow in May in the Midwest. I guess maybe some of the upper parts it can happen, it's possible. I'm in the upper part, but I've never personally seen it. I know it helps a little bit with the acceleration, but I don't really want to do it in the snow. If I could meet any celebrity, who would it be? I'd rather meet World War II veterans than meet most celebrities. Most celebrities are scumbags. So I'd rather talk to like World War II veterans from different fronts of the war and get to know them, what they went through. There we go. Okay. I don't think the Japanese could really invade Australia. They bombed Darwin, but... He was my great-grandfather, amateur. But I would have to ask my mom, his first name. I just know the last name, but, the CEO of Take-Two, you mean Strauss Zelnick? I don't know, Okay, here we go. CEO of Take-Two. Yeah, I'm sorry, no, I don't know what I would... I don't know what I would ask him. And Strauss Zelnick, and here's the thing is Strauss Zelnick is a bit of a scumbag. So I don't know if I would want to interact with him. I'm sorry, I'm just a little tired.
Hello? Shit! I told you not to call this line.
Cool video, thank you, dude.
Hey, girl. Hey, you belong to that Manny Petty?
Oh, that was close. I'm surprised I didn't fall off the bike at that point. Yeah, that was close. Why did Germany betray the Soviet Union? Because they got greedy. And it was also Hitler's original plan to betray the Soviet Union from the start. He was planning on doing that right from the start. But it was the thing is that Stalin was so confident that Hitler would not betray him. Like he was so fully confident that would not happen, but it did. Well, it was, I will say, though, it's always been, it, it's always been, like, a thought of mine. Like, what is the stupidest military decision in history? Is it Japan deciding to bomb, Pearl Harbor? Or was it Germany invading the Soviet Union? Like, both of them are just equally stupid, and both of them led to their downfalls. Like, both the Japanese and Nazi empires collapsed because of those decisions. One was the pizza deliveries were added earlier this year, like kind of like mid through the year. Let's get political. Favorite Beatles song? I actually don't know that many Beatles songs. I know Yellow Submarine. I think that's one of them, but I actually don't know a lot of their music. Thank you, Zero Blocks Productions. I do know one thing with the Beatles, though. I know there was like a conspiracy theory that it was one of the singers was dead. Like they thought that one of the singers was dead, and like it was like all these with the posters that they were doing, and uh, I forget which one, but they thought that he was dead, but he wasn't dead. But there was the one with the Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. That one I remember. That one people thought that that was a reference to LSD, the drug. Paul McCartney, yeah. I can't imagine how he must have felt looking at these conspiracy theories of people thinking that he was dead.
Let's meet up next week. Oh my goodness.
Hit the brake!
Did Tony Soprano have the makings of Varsity Athlete? No, he didn't. Mercenaries Playground Destruction is one of my favorite soundtracks. Also, the Ace Combat games, those generally have really good soundtracks as well, yeah. Hey, Yuritsa, how are you? We are at $748,000. Well, technically $746,000 because there's a 2,000 good behavior bonus.
Oh, fuck! Every day
Hey, Mark.
That's what I like to hear.
Okay, well, at least these aren't that far apart.
There was more time
The bad economy and manipulating events, Kevin. GTA 6 is gonna come out in 2025. Yes, it will. Trey Garrison, don't worry about that. Unless Rockstar delays it, but if it gets delayed, it's not. It's some stupid YouTuber that has like 3 million subscribers is not gonna tell you that GTA 6 is getting delayed. It's going to be Rockstar themselves. If it gets delayed, Rockstar will tell you. So until Rockstar says it, believe that it's coming out in 2025. What happened to money-making streams with subs? Well, I do them every week, Jose. I help people sell their businesses, but on this one we were just doing the pizza stream because it was like unique and a unique event, and it's a funny one that we can do too. Did America commit any war crimes in World War II? Of course. The United States committed the Biscari massacre. It was in Italy, where they took over 100 Italian prisoners of war and a few Germans, and they executed them. That was an American war crime. But the Allied army that committed the most amount of war crimes during World War II was the Soviets. The Soviets committed way more than the U.S. did. The U.S. there was a few incidents, but the Soviets it was just much more widespread. I have a lot of other projects to get to, Jalen, but eventually I will do that one, yes. How bad do you think griefing will be in GTA 6? I don't think it's going to be as bad as GTA 5, though. GTA 5, I think, was the worst of the griefing. And honestly, with GTA 6, I hope they do exactly what Red Dead did. Where Red Dead, you only have to see the person on the map when you're close to them. I hope they do that. I don't want people to see me across the map. That's the best book you've ever read. Probably Animal Farm. Yeah, I'd say probably Animal Farm. That was George Orwell's book. It's a good one, too. What's Animal Farm about? Animal Farm is a fictional book where it's a bunch of the animals are characters in the story. They're on a farm and they work for like a human, and they can and the animals can speak, and they're being mistreated by the human farmer a lot. And they stage a revolution, and the revolution is that every animal is going to be equal at that point. But the revolution turns into a dictatorship, and the pig ended up taking over the revolution, Napoleon, who's based on Stalin. It's based on the Russian Revolution. It was basically Animal Farm was basically like a book that was symbolizing the Russian Revolution and how much of a disaster it was. That's what the Animal Farm was. I have not read that book. I don't know what that one is. White. Which video, Mark? Oh, you mean the gun review? When that comes out, when that new gun comes out, I'll review it. When the gun comes out for everyone, yes. It's on the App Store. Liberty City Stories on the App Store. I wish they would give us the definitive edition of Liberty City Stories. It's going to be the 20-year anniversary next year.
Hey man, what's up? Yeah, what's cracking?
The pizza's always also covered in snow. Okay, we're almost there. We're at 79% of the way there. A conflict you found interesting to learn about the French Revolution was always the one I liked reading about. My favorite actor, Denzel Washington, probably, yeah.
What the fuck, Who you, ese?
Cheers, bucket.
You unenlightened fool. Hey, cabron!
Have you ever played chess? Of course I have. Do I like Eminem, the rapper? Yeah, I listened to him when I was younger. I don't really listen to him much anymore, but he made some good music. Who had a better chance at invading Russia? Hitler or Napoleon? Napoleon. Now here's what people don't know. Napoleon and Hitler were not defeated in Russia for the same reasons. Here's the thing: is the cold destroyed Hitler's army because Hitler thought that they were gonna take Hitler thought that they were going to take Russia before Christmas. He thought they were just going to defeat the Soviet Union, and that was going to be it. Napoleon actually took Moscow. Hitler never took Moscow. Napoleon did take Moscow. After the Battle of Borodino, the French defeated the Russians at the Battle of Borodino, and they took Moscow. Now, the reason that Napoleon wasn't able to hold Moscow was because what the Russians did was they basically burned all the farms and they destroyed all the food stockpiles that were around Moscow. So the cold wasn't really a problem for the French in Russia, and the reason for that was because they took Moscow. They had shelter. They had the city, so they had places that they could take shelter in where they wouldn't freeze to death. But the problem is they had no food. So the French weren't defeated by the cold in Russia. They were defeated by hunger. The Germans were defeated by cold, but not by hunger. The Germans had more food than the French did. So that was what it was. It was and then Napoleon had to retreat from Moscow because he had no food reserves left. He had to feed his army, and you cannot, run an army if you don't have food for them. And as the French were retreating from Moscow, the Russians then ambushed them. That's basically how Napoleon was defeated in Russia. Here we go, next one. Napoleon also wasn't fighting on as many fronts when he was fighting against Russia. Oh, Napoleon was much more intelligent than Hitler. Hitler was an idiot. we go. Yeah, if crashes affected the pizzas, I'd be screwed at this point. Oops, delivering pizzas here.
Good lord! Stupid!
Eight Mile, a long time ago when I was a kid. I seen that's the Eminem movie. I know that one. Happy Holidays, Pro. I just noticed that scam game, Heli City Demolition Man you talked about months ago is back on the PlayStation Store for $1.99. I wonder what they did to have it back up. It's back again? Thank you, Vince, for the super chat. Wow, it's back again. Wow. The Vice City ripoff game. Minecraft. I didn't even know there's a survival series in Minecraft. How does survival work in Minecraft? Yeah, the Vice City helicopter game. It's a rip-off Demolition Man. It's literally the exact same map. Love your streams, bro. Such a history, bro. Thank you, Brian. What was the best thing about working in retail? Some of the cool people I worked with. Some people I worked with were nice and cool. But I will tell you this. I worked the best in retail when I was working by myself and nobody was disturbing me. That's when I worked the best. One thing I really hated about retail is I hated when I was in the middle of something, like I was in the middle of some work and I would get interrupted by something, like customers or manager would want something else. Like I hated getting interrupted in the middle of my work. I hated that. And then I wasn't able to finish all my tasks and the manager's like, "Why didn't you finish all the tasks?" Well, you're constantly interrupting me with other tasks.
How you doing?
Thank you, Vince, for that super chat.
Share the love.
I don't know, Spaniard. I'm not a military expert. Do you think people are getting lonelier as technology advances? To a degree. People are more social, but they're more social online. Okay. 83%. We're almost there, guys. what is if someone is less social online in real life? Well, I usually don't hear something like that. Most times people are actually social either real life or in online, but I'm not sure then. I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. But I will tell you this also, that some of the people that I know in real life, I mean, some of the people that I know online have been better friends to me than some people that I've known in real life. Not everyone. I have good friends in real life that are best friends, but some people that I've known online have been better friends to me than people that I've known in real life too. Why does America get so much hate compared to most other countries? I will tell you, the reason that America gets hate is for two reasons. There's two reasons. One of them is jealousy, and the second reason is the interventionism. That is it. Those are the two main reasons I can think of that people don't like America. They're either jealous of America's success, or the second reason is they're pissed off about America's interventionism. Which the interventionism argument I can understand a bit more. The jealousy one is just stupid. But people are generally pissed off about America meddling in other countries' affairs, and that's one of the main reasons that America is hated around the world, because our government is constantly getting involved in some other country's affairs, and it's pissing people off. And sometimes when our country gets involved in other countries' affairs, we make the situation worse. Like sometimes when we intervene, the situation becomes worse, and that's why I think sometimes America gets hate. But I will also say to you is that a lot of times America also gets hate in other places for like things that are not our fault at all, like things that have absolutely nothing to do with us. And like I will tell you something is I was watching like a couple news videos about like the Taliban and Pakistan fighting. So like apparently Afghanistan invaded Pakistan like recently, and it was like some dispute. Like Pakistan bombed Afghanistan, and then the Taliban started firing. I'm not sure exactly who started shooting first. I don't know, but I was reading about it, and what happened is when I looked at the comments section, like the comments, like there was people that were saying like the CIA got the Taliban to attack Pakistan. It's like, no, it's like that's stupid. Like I'm like sometimes the anti-American like propaganda sometimes is so much that people will just talk nonsense, like absolute stupidity. And like, look, I'm not a fan of the CIA. If I was president, I would abolish the CIA because they've done really stupid things and really bad things. But like when I read those comments, like some people hate America so much they will blame America for everything. Like every single thing that happens, they will blame America for. And I don't know how anybody in the right mind could tell me that like America convinced the Taliban to attack Pakistan. It's one of the stupidest things that I've ever heard. Like literally, Pakistan and Afghanistan both hate America. Like that's one of the stupidest things that I've ever heard. That like that America somehow got Afghanistan to invade Pakistan. But some people are just so much into the anti-American propaganda is they will literally believe anything. So yeah, I mean America does stupid things in other countries, sure, but it's we also get hate also at other times for no reason too. Who would gather intelligence, not the CIA? The NSA? Excuse me. The National Security Agency? We don't really need the CIA. They could be abolished. But look, I'm not here to defend the CIA. The CIA does like really bad stuff. But the point that I'm getting at is that some people like hate America so much that they will blame America for stuff that has absolutely nothing to do with America. Like they will blame America for like the for Afghanistan attacking Pakistan. It's one of the stupidest things I heard. Like, what do we have to do with that? There's no proof America had any involvement in that. The only involvement we have is the Afghan war, but we haven't been there for 3 years. So I don't know what the issue is there. There was I will tell you another thing is that another thing that people get really wrong is I've seen like a lot of comments, for example, of like people slandering the DEA, which is the Drug Enforcement Administration. Like people say really bad things about the DEA, and like I've seen like comments online where people say like the DEA works with the cartels and stuff like that, and like sells drugs to the cartels. I tell you, that's nonsense. That's not true. Do you know who worked with the cartels? Do you know who did that? It was the CIA. The CIA were the ones who sold the drugs. They sold the crack. They worked with the cartels. DEA didn't do that. It was the CIA who did that. But like some people think that the CIA and the DEA are the same thing, but they're not. I knew a DEA agent. So when my professor in college, he was a former retired DEA agent, and he actually talked about how the DEA hated the CIA. Like the DEA absolutely hated the CIA. They didn't get along with them at all. They hated them. And the reason that the CIA was so hated by the DEA is because the CIA would come into DEA offices and they would force them to give all the information on like cartels, so like cartel bosses and anybody the DEA is going after. They would force the DEA to basically give them all that information. But if the DEA ever needed help with anything, the CIA would never help them. So the CIA would constantly come in, harass the DEA, demand everything, but would never actually help the DEA. And that's why the DEA really hated the CIA. But the DEA are not bad people. They are good people that just want to get rid of the cartels. They want to get these drug traffickers off of our streets. The CIA, those are the bad guys. Those are the guys who did the bad things. They worked with the cartels. They sold the drugs. The DEA didn't really do that. It was the CIA. But I see these comments, people saying, oh, it's DEA, like, helping the cartels. Like, no, it was the CIA, not the DEA that did that. Let's see, right here. Where are we gonna go from here? Go down here first. Well, he's a fictional character in Breaking Bad, but well, about the tourists, here's what I will tell you about the tourists, is that the tourists go both ways, because are American tourists rude and nasty? Sure, yes, but there are plenty of tourists that are very rude and nasty in when they visit America as well. That also happens. So like you hear these stories about like American tourists offending people in other countries, but you don't really hear the stories about tourists offending Americans, but it does happen as well. I will tell you, uh, my, my, aunt, what I'll tell you about her, is she, she visited America, and she was, like, even though she was a guest here, she made some pretty nasty comments. That's what I'll say about that. So my aunt, she's a European, and she made some pretty nasty comments, and, yeah, that's pretty much what I'll say. It wasn't like racist, but it was like just general comments about Americans, and it was not nice. It was not, not nice, not pleasant at all. So there are tourists that also offend Americans, and there's bad tourists everywhere. Like people think that Americans are the worst tourists ever, but there's plenty of European tourists that, for example, have offended Americans. That has happened too.
Excuse me, honey.
What's the difference between FBI and CIA? FBI is Federal Bureau, but the that's just that the FBI is generally like a federal law enforcement agency. CIA, Central Intelligence Agency, they're more spies to intervene in other government affairs. CIA are involved in a lot of activities in other countries' governments. The FBI, not really so much. Can you talk about cities saying they subsidize rural areas? Here's what I'll tell you about that is the that argument works both ways. So here's the thing is, rural communities would not be able to survive, or cities, or would have at least a really hard time, and cities would not be able to survive without rural communities. So it goes both ways. But I will tell you personally, I live in a way more rural area. So I moved to the upper Midwest, 4 years ago, and I live in kind of like a town city, but I live in a much more rural area than where I grew up in. And literally is from my apartment is literally less than a mile from my apartment of farms, big farms. But about it is, I will tell you from my personal experience, the most elitist, rude people that I've seen are people from the cities, not the rural people. Like there are people in rural communities, like farmers and stuff like that, that like hate outsiders, and they're rude too and nasty. Don't get me wrong, but from just what I've seen personally, it was the people in the cities that are the most rude and the most nasty. There are people that I grew up with in New York where they basically think that the entire world revolves around New York. They think that New York is really the center of the universe, and they think that everywhere, that there's nowhere else that's better than New York, and they think that people that like live in like rural communities are like trailer park idiots with no education. That's basically what they think. So there's people I grew up with that I knew people just like that, very ignorant, arrogant people, and I will tell you about this is one of the dumbest things that I hear is when I hear people like from New York City, like where I grew up in New York, and I hear people say, we don't need rural communities, like we subsidize them, we don't need them. Well, it actually works both ways. The taxes from cities help rural communities. However, though, rural communities also greatly help cities. If rural communities did not exist, New York City would fall apart. I'm telling you right now, if there was no rural communities, New York City would completely fall apart. It would not be able to last. And how? Think about it this way. Who produces the food for New York City? Who does it? Rural communities. Who produces the gasoline for New York City? Rural communities. Who are the truck drivers that deliver food to New York City? Most of the time, rural drivers. And so, if you didn't have the farms, you didn't have the food from the rural communities, you didn't have the truck drivers, you didn't have the gas from the rural communities, New York City would shut down. Just imagine if, let's just say that every single farmer in the country, right? Every single American farmer said, we're not going to deliver any food to New York City for 1 month. Just 1 month. Do you know what that would do? Like, New York City wouldn't starve. It wouldn't happen like that for like a month. But what would happen is grocery prices would skyrocket. Like, stores would like clear out stuff really quickly. It would be an absolute disaster. It would just, everything would, there would be absolute chaos in the streets and stuff like that happen. So when I see like this elitist mindset from people in the cities that like rural communities are like stupid and uneducated, no, it's like, here's what I'll tell you something, is there's a difference between education and manners, and it's not always the same thing. So literally, you can have somebody from rural communities that never went to college, they only finished high school, but do you know what they have? They have common courtesy and they have manners and they're polite. Unlike you have somebody that like goes to like New York University, and maybe they have some fancy education, but they treat everybody like garbage and they have no manners and they're just not polite at all. So for me personally, is the people that I want to interact with are not the people that make the most money or the most successful, but the people that are literally the most polite and reasonable. Those are the people that I want to interact with the most. And I'm not saying every single New Yorker is like this. I'm a New Yorker. What I'm just saying is I grew up in an environment where people were like that, where you had this elitist mindset from the cities, and they thought that people in like rural communities were like stupid or something. So why did you move from the Midwest to New York? Why did you move to the Midwest from New York? A combination of reasons. One reason is I wanted to get out of New York. I didn't want to spend my entire life in New York. I wanted to, start a life somewhere else. Second reason, uh, second reason is I want a more affordable place. I wanted places that weren't, going to just absolutely destroy me with taxes. And third reason is I wanted to start a business somewhere else, and I didn't want to do it in New York. So that's what I said. The thing about this is that most New Yorkers, when they want to get out of New York, they want to go to Florida. That's where most New Yorkers go. And I didn't want to go to Florida because it's just too hot for me. I cannot take the heat. I like the cold more. I like winters. And so I decided to choose the Midwest instead. More affordable place, and there's winters also. So I like the Midwest more than much more than where I grew up in New York. I will just say though, the one thing that I really miss about New York, living in the Midwest, is that in New York you could pretty much go to any store that you wanted. A lot of stores are like 24 hours, so there's plenty of places you could go to eat, do grocery shopping, stuff like that. In the Midwest, after 10 p.m., pretty much all places are shut down. It's like entire towns are just pitch black. So that's what it's like. So people go to bed a lot earlier. You don't really have those 24-hour places as much as you do in New York. But if you get used to it, you get used to it. You shop in the daytime, and it is what it is. Mark II or Toreador? Well, I would use the Toreador. I just don't want to use the Mark II, Jose. I don't think the Mark II should even be in the game, personally. Yes, I'm actually going to have merchandise for my channel pretty soon. Why did I prefer night shifts over morning shifts? Well, my store that I worked in retail only had night shifts once a week. It was the truck nights. But I just didn't like morning. I like closing shifts. I didn't like morning shifts. I just didn't like waking up. Did I feel bad for Jackie Jr. when he was killed? No, Jackie Jr. was an idiot. That was one of the worst. He was that's. I'm actually surprised that character survived as long as he did. Oh, I'm gonna be using a website. One of my friends recommended me. I forget the name of it, but no, a shortcut here. Ow. First time I died today. You're one of the most genuine YouTubers I have come across. Big ups. Thank you, Platinum. Thank you, man.
Let's meet up next week. Hi there.
A lot of times I do, but sometimes I give up on getting 100% certain games. Was Lance's betrayal more shocking to you than Big Smoke? I don't know. I think they're kind of more equally shocking in a way. Do you miss doing truck nights? Hell no. Who's that, Grim? Yes, that's pretty much how much I've made from this challenge so far already.
You fucker! That show is amazing.
Oh, this is gonna be a big drive all the way to Grove Street now.
I should be doing that.
What the fuck, dude? Dios mío!
I mean, he just crossed the... Damn. I hate when they do that, okay. Okay, hopefully I can make there before the heat goes down. My Christmas was good. How was yours, man? Okay, 2 miles. Thoughts on Uber Eats as a side gig? It's okay. I haven't ever done it, but I should have done that instead of doing retail, because at least you can choose your own hours. Oh, this is gonna be really close. Okay, I gotta get there fast. Half a mile left, okay. Gotta be really careful with this.
Motherfucker, get the fuck off my turf. This ballers.
You don't want your pizza? Huh. Get the F off my turf. What about the pizza? Okay. Okay. One more mission, and we got this. What was my timer earlier this year? What was my other record? It was 3 hours and what was it? My other record for $1 million in pizza? I don't think GTA 6 is gonna be woke. I don't think it's gonna happen. Okay, here we go. Last one. Let's do it.
No way! I don't care what piece of the door I get. I bring bitches.
What's your thoughts on AI? Here's what I think about AI. I think that AI can be helpful in some places, but I think it can cause massive problems in others. Like, the thing I think AI is the most helpful for is, when you're trying to look stuff up. Like, when you're trying to look stuff up, like, AI has gotten so good where it can find the exact information that you're looking for. Like, exactly. Like, it'll pop up, like, that Google AI thing, like, when you're looking something up, it'll pop up right away. So, like, that's probably the most useful thing AI has been at. But the worst thing that AI has done, and this is what I'll say about this, is I don't believe that, like, AI is gonna go, like, Terminator and take over the world and kill us. I don't think that's gonna happen. But what I think the biggest threat that AI has is AI can destroy the economy, and AI can destroy jobs. So what I mean by that is, for example, like, cashiers are being replaced by, self-checkout, which is technically AI. And what's going to happen in the future is, do you know what one industry that's going to be completely abolished in the future in favor of AI? Do you know what? Can anybody tell me what industry they think I'm talking about? An industry that's going to be completely gone in the future because of AI, where thousands of people are going to lose their jobs in this industry. Trucks, yeah, trucking, exactly. And here's what's going to happen with the trucking, is that companies are going to have these self-driving electric trucks, and they're going to replace truckers. And I will tell you, that should be absolutely illegal. They should not be able to do that. Now, I'm a pretty free market guy. I don't like the government usually getting involved in the economy, but that should not be allowed. The government should not. The government should stop that from happening. Stop these companies from replacing truck drivers, because the thing about these truck drivers is that truckers are literally the heart of the country. It's like that one job that, like, Americans are really known for. It's like the one, common job that a lot of Americans are known for. And it's not a bad job. Is trucking. And if trucking is replaced with AI, oh, that would be really bad. Because here's the thing: is some truckers generally make good money, but it depends on the company they're working for. So truckers, can support an entire family. And here's the thing: is trucking jobs give jobs to people in areas where there's not a lot of opportunities. So, for example, is in really small areas, like really small rural areas. We're not even talking like towns. We're talking like less than villages, like very small areas in the middle of nowhere where very few people live. Trucking companies help provide jobs to people in those areas. Because think about it, if somebody like lives in the middle of nowhere, right, and they're a truck driver, and then their job gets taken by AI, what are they going to do for a living? And it's going to devastate those rural communities, and those rural communities are going to get absolutely hurt by that. So I don't think that I think the AI is going to really hurt trucking. And I've heard the arguments before. I've heard people defending the AI, and they typically say, oh, truck drivers are going to get, like, other jobs in other places. It's like, where? Where exactly are they going to get jobs in? And what people have done is they're comparing truckers being replaced to, like, elevator technicians. Because in the past, there used to be elevator technicians, which they would, you would tell them what floor, and they would, like, take you to that floor. But that's not comparable. It's like elevator technician is that something's, it's not, it's a, anybody can learn how to use an elevator. It's easy. It's a few buttons, they pushed it, so it's automated, so the person that's wants to use the elevator will go down. Trucking is a more complicated job. It's a job that requires skill, it requires skill classes. You have to have a specific license to be a trucker. And so truckers are not going to find other jobs to get, like, it when AI replaces them. It'll be a massive nightmare. It'll really hurt the economy. And so I think that not everything is about not everything is about money. That's what people don't understand. Some people are so obsessed. They say, the market, the free market will dictate this and that and that. And the thing is, what people need to understand is that not everything is about money. Sometimes it's about putting your country first. It's about doing what's good for your country, for your people. And doing what's good for your country and your people is not always the most favorable to the free market. It's not always the most favorable to what makes the most amount of money. And that's what people need to understand too, is that sometimes there's morals here. And you need to protect these communities, protect the truckers' jobs. That's what I say. I'm not a trucker, I've never driven a truck, but I would support laws that would prevent these AI from like being like truckers, because it's gonna destroy entire communities. It's gonna destroy entire communities. Are gonna be devastated if they lose their jobs as truckers. It's families that, like I said, truckers make good money. They can support an entire family on that, and it's gonna devastate families. And so you're gonna have homelessness. You're gonna have people living more paycheck to paycheck when truckers are out of a job. You don't want something like that. It's gonna happen though. To younger people, it's gonna happen. Forgotten. They're gonna get replaced by AI. It's gonna happen. What do you mean by that, Zach? Why should you make AI trucking legal to protect a small group of people? You mean illegal. But it's not a small group of people. You have thousands of people that are, that work as truckers. Thousands. And is that literally in those small rural communities, people need the trucking jobs in order to support themselves. Because if you take away the trucking jobs, that's a family that's not gonna be able to support themselves. And how is the rest of the family gonna survive? What the kids are gonna be eating less, and what people will do is people will just blame the dad. Oh, why can't the dad find another job somewhere else? Well, trucking was a great job for him. It's like, where else is he gonna work? Is he gonna work in a store? Get paid minimum wage as a retail cashier, and that's probably out the door too. Well, the reason we have a supply chain problem is because corporations don't want to pay more people for that. That's precisely the issue too. And also, it's because people see trucking is not an easy job. It's a very hard job. It takes a toll on your mental health. You're not able to see your family for days, and that's probably the reason that there's a shortage of truckers. But eliminating trucker jobs altogether and replacing them with AI is going to make the situation worse. It's not going to help. AI is not going to be able to handle a big rig as much as you think. I think you would be surprised by that. Is that it? I will tell you something. 20 years ago, I was 10 years old. 20 years ago, if you told me 20 years ago that there would be cars that could park themselves, if you told me that there would be phones that people could take out and watch videos on, I would tell you no, that's not going to happen. For many more decades. Not in 20 years. But it happened in 20 years. So technology advances at a very rapid pace. But there we go. We've hit the goal, guys. We are at $1 million, and that was like 3 hours and 2 minutes. We've hit the goal. We have done it. We're here. Companies are extremely greedy. They will do anything to cut costs. The way we are treating AI right now is how people treated the microwave 50 years ago. Microwave isn't going to take anybody's job, though. That's the thing. So it's, I think there is a concern of AI replacing a lot of people in the workplace. I think that can happen. That's it. Oh, I died too, but I sent a scooter in the water. Let's go. Thank you, Amateur. Thank you for the super chat. And also the here's what I'll tell you: the people that are perfectly fine with like AI taking over trucker jobs, the people that are perfectly fine with that. How would you feel if AI took over pilots' jobs? And would you get on a plane where it's just a robot flying the plane the entire time from point A to point B? They tell you it's safe. You know, nothing's gonna happen. You know, the robot is gonna take off on its own, take off the plane and land the plane. It'll be fine. You know, robots programmed for, you know, disasters. It's not gonna you know, crash. It's safe. That's what they'll tell you. And so like that's what I say when the people say, oh, you know, AI replacing truckers is not a big deal. Well, apply that to planes now. Would you get on that plane? I wouldn't. I wouldn't get on that plane. No way. So that's what I'll say is I would not get on that type of plane. So there needs to be limits. There needs to be regulation on stuff like this. Like I said, I'm generally a free market guy. I don't like the government getting involved in the economy. I want less government. But one of the few places I do support the government getting involved in is this, to stop this AI crap from really ruining everything. Autopilot usually flies the plane, but there's a big difference between autopilot and AI, because autopilot is a setting you put on. The plane's going to be flying at that altitude, flying at that specific speed, but the plane's not going to be landing itself. You still need humans for that. $500 likes on the stream as well. Thank you, Amateur. I will record it tonight, probably tomorrow, Chaz. Okay, well, I'll probably do a stream on Tuesday, and we can probably do something there, Blinded Eagle. Thank you, Zero Blocks. Most planes already do that, pre-programmed though. Not entirely controlled by AI though. And there's a reason we have a pilot and a co-pilot for maximum safety. That's the reason. I will do the I don't know. Should I do the stream on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day? Which one do you guys want? Do you guys want the stream? Do you guys want the stream to be on Tuesday or Wednesday? New Year's Eve or New Year's Day? Which day do you guys want the stream to be on? Eve? Okay, most people are saying Eve. Okay, so we'll do it on Tuesday then. Tuesday's New Year's Eve, so we'll do it on Tuesday. What we'll do on Tuesdays, we'll do San Andreas. I'll play San Andreas Definitive Edition and try to get closer to getting 100%. So that's probably what we'll do. I'm pretty close to finishing San Andreas Definitive Edition 100%. I'm closer than my regular version of San Andreas, so we'll try to get closer to finishing it. What's your question, Diavolo?
No problem.
Excuse me.
Well, you don't know about that, Tactical. You don't know about that. It's that the technology evolves at a very rapid pace.
Oh, sexy vehicle you've got there.
The M14, I've never fired an M14, but I know the gun that you're talking about. Well, I'll probably do it on Eve, Amateur, because I already see most people want it on Eve, so we'll do it on the Eve. Well, actually, about the Hitman mission, I actually recorded it. I actually already uploaded it, but it was for channel members and Patreon supporters early, but I'm gonna have it uploaded for everyone public this week. I've already actually uploaded done the Hitman mission. It was I actually really liked the Elusive Target. I did finish it. It was actually a really good one. The one with Van Damme, it was actually my favorite one so far. But I guess I will be going here, guys. I will be going here, guys. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. And if you guys enjoyed the stream, do drop a like. It does help the stream out a lot. I hope that everyone has a great day. We'll stream on New Year's Eve again. Thank you guys for watching. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful day, guys.